The Forest Dweller. Introduction. Entering the forest. The Silver Fox says, "The forest does not ask how much money you earned. It asks one simple question. What have you become?" One day, whether we are ready or not, life becomes quieter. The alarm clock stops ringing. The children grow up. The house becomes quieter than it used to be. Friends begin disappearing. The people who once knew our whole story slowly become memories. For the first time in many years, there is space. Sometimes that space feels peaceful. Sometimes it feels lonely. Sometimes old memories begin knocking on the door. Memories we thought had disappeared. Conversations we never finished. People we never stopped loving. Questions we never answered. Many people think this is life becoming smaller. The forest knows differently. The forest knows that every season has its purpose. Spring reaches upward. Summer gives everything it has. Autumn lets go. Winter becomes still. None of the seasons are wrong. None of them try to become another. The trouble is, the gray city teaches us to keep running, to keep proving, to keep collecting, to keep carrying. So when life finally becomes quiet, many people don't know how to stop. They sit with bags that have become too heavy, scripts that no longer belong to them, worries that were never theirs to carry forever. The Forest Dweller is not a book about growing old. It is a book about becoming lighter, about returning to wonder, about becoming the shade beneath which others may rest, about remembering that the greatest trees no longer compete for sunlight. They give it away. So before we begin, take one slow breath. Look around. The forest has been waiting for you all along. The first reflection, do not ask yourself, how much time do I have left? Ask yourself, what kind of tree have I become? The Silver Fox smiles. The forest has no retired trees. Only trees that have learnt how to give differently. Season 1, laying down the name. The Silver Fox says, "The gray city needed your name. The forest never does." The Silver Fox was sitting on an old oak that had long since fallen. It had once reached above every other tree. Now it rested quietly upon the forest floor. Yet everywhere around it, new life was growing. A person sat beside him. Their shoulders were heavy, not because of age, because of the bags they were still carrying. For nearly 50 years they had answered to a name. Manager, teacher, father, mother, director, provider, worker. The gray city had spoken those names so many times. They had almost forgotten the one they were born with. After a long silence, they spoke. "I don't know who I am anymore." The Silver Fox didn't answer immediately. Instead, he rested his hand on the fallen oak. "Cyrus once asked me why the forest never looked frightened." The person waited. "The forest never tries to become yesterday." He smiled. "Every season knows exactly when to let go." He picked up a dry leaf. In autumn, the tree lets every leaf fall. It does not panic. It does not cling. It does not apologize. It simply returns what was only ever borrowed. The leaf drifted to the earth, but watch carefully. The tree loses every leaf. Yet nothing important has been lost. The person looked towards the bare branches. It still looks alive. The Silver Fox nodded, because the leaves were never the tree. They were simply this season's clothing. He looked gently towards them. The gray city taught you to mistake your clothing for your skin. It convinced you that your job was your identity, that your title was your worth, that your usefulness was your value. But nature has never measured life that way. He pointed towards the roots disappearing beneath the earth. The strongest part of every tree is the part nobody applauds. The roots. They hold everything together. They ask for no recognition, They simply serve. The forest became quiet. You have spent your life growing leaves. You provided. You sacrificed. You protected. You survived. The silver fox smiled. Now, nature is asking something different. Not for more leaves, for deeper roots. The person closed their eyes. For the first time in many years, they were not thinking about what they used to do. They were simply breathing. The silver fox stood. The gray city introduced you by your profession. The forest introduces you by your presence. There is a difference. He began walking deeper beneath the trees. Come. The forest has been waiting for you much longer than the gray city ever knew your name. The first reflection. When somebody asks, "What did you do?" Notice what happens inside you. Now ask yourself a quieter question. Who am I? When nobody asks. Lay the title down. Keep the wisdom. The forest has no retired trees. Only trees that have learnt how to give differently. Season 2. The Empty Chair. The silver fox says, "Silence remembers what noise once protected. Do not fear what comes to visit. Sit with it a while." The morning was still. The birds had only just begun to sing. The silver fox walked slowly into a small clearing. There was a wooden table beneath an old beech tree. Around the table were 4 chairs. 3 were worn smooth with years of use. 1 remained perfectly empty. The silver fox sat down. Across from him sat an elderly woman. Her eyes never left the empty chair. After a long silence, she whispered, "I still expect him to walk through the gate." The silver fox nodded. So do the birds. She looked at him. He smiled gently. They still sing where he used to sit. They have not forgotten him either. The woman lowered her head. People keep telling me I must move on. The silver fox looked towards the forest. Move on from what? She didn't answer. The love? The years? The laughter? The promises? He shook his head. The forest never asks a tree to forget the spring that helped it grow. He picked up a fallen leaf. When a leaf falls, does the tree pretend it was never there? The woman quietly shook her head. No. It remembers. It simply continues growing. The wind moved softly through the branches. The silver fox looked at the empty chair. That chair will always belong to someone. It is not your enemy. It is a reminder that love happened here. The woman closed her eyes. I wish the pain would stop. The silver fox waited before speaking. Pain often changes its clothes. When we are busy, it walks behind us. When life becomes quiet, it finally catches up. Many people think retirement creates loneliness. It doesn't. It simply removes enough noise for old echoes to be heard. He looked kindly towards her. The echo isn't asking you to become trapped in yesterday. It is asking to be acknowledged. Nothing more. The woman took a slow breath. So what do I do? The silver fox pointed towards the forest. Walk. Talk. Cry if tears arrive. Laugh when laughter comes. Tell the stories. Say their name. Plant something. Cook their favorite meal. Sit in the sunshine. Do not carry them like a stone. Carry them like a seed. The woman looked confused. A seed? He smiled. A stone only becomes heavier. A seed becomes a tree. If the love they gave you becomes kindness, if their patience becomes your patience, if their laughter becomes your laughter, they have not disappeared. They have simply changed form. The woman looked once more at the empty chair. For the first time, it no longer looked empty. It looked thankful. The silver fox stood. There comes a day when every one of us will leave an empty chair. He placed his hand gently upon the back of it. The question is never whether the chair will become empty. The question is, what will still be sitting there after we have gone? The second reflection. Is there an empty chair in your life? Do not rush to fill it. Sit beside it. Give thanks for the life that once filled it. Then ask yourself, what part of their kindness can still live through me today? The silver fox smiles. Love never asks you to carry yesterday forever. It quietly asks you to let yesterday become tomorrow's shade.